Okie dokie, boys and girls. So you see the front lever bar standing here menacingly, but I'm actually not doing the front lever max attempt yet today. I'll explain why in a second. But first, today is a push day, and that brings me to the three factors of training. You have frequency, you have volume, you have intensity. Today, I'm doing a push day for the second day in a row, so obviously my frequency is increasing. But what that means is, well, I'm gonna decrease the intensity a little bit. I'm gonna decrease the volume a little bit. And that's something that I often see in other people's training is, they get motivated by something, for example, right? And then they want to up their training. They want to, do more difficult training. And oftentimes they don't just increase the frequency or the volume or the intensity by itself. No, they take multiple factors and they increase it. It's also, you see something often in running where people try to go faster and further at the same time. While, ideally, or what you should do is, right, when you increase your training difficulty is you either increase the pace, right? You go faster, or you increase the distance, but you don't do it twice, or you don't do it both at the same time. The same goes for training, If you are doing more intense training, don't do more volume in your workout. If you do more volume in your workout, don't do more frequency for your workout, right? Or don't increase the intensity at the same time, right? It goes in all directions, basically. But in some cases, or in most cases, what you will even do if you're really wanting to progress long term is if you're increasing intensity, maybe even decrease the volume, or maybe even decrease the frequency a little bit, right? So that you can play with those parameters, because those parameters, those three parameters, take it as the baskets, the eggs in the baskets. If you place all your eggs in one basket, there is no eggs left over for the other one. And when you're training, you gradually adapt more and more and more to training. You're going to get more eggs over time. But if you try to put all your eggs everywhere, well, they're going to fucking crack, You're not going to be left over with eggs. You're going to get injured. So what you should do is, up one parameter, intensity or volume or the frequency, but not frequency and volume and intensity, That's something you have to be careful with. So today, push day, frequency is higher, so the volume and the intensity will be lower, especially since I didn't plan on doing this second push session when I was training push yesterday. So today will be a very light workout, just going through the motions. I'm basically just cashing in another day to let my back heal for the front lever, which I guess I would explain, why I am not doing the front lever max attempt today. I just feel like another recovery day for my back will be beneficial. I was training very hard before I took up my rest period for the front lever, and I thought 5 days would be enough. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to make it 6. I just felt like that yesterday when I did my activation. So today, no front lever. Tomorrow, max hold. In the meantime, this bar will stay here looking at me, inviting me for a max attempt. I'm very excited and scared at the same time. But in the meantime, let's do a push workout. So I don't know if there will be a lot of commentary, maybe just some fun clips. It's going to be, unweighted planche, going through the motions, some light stuff. I don't want to force myself to do anything today. A couple sets, maybe 5 or something. Let's go. On these light days, it's a very good idea to just focus on form instead, Even if you're not able to expend a lot of energy, or you shouldn't. Maybe you're able to expend a lot of energy, but you shouldn't, right? In those cases, you can still do your best by focusing on other things. So here, the mental capacity is going to its limit because I'm trying to focus on, getting a clean planche, That's also a way to improve. Oof. That was a bit too heavy. Okay, so that's it for the planche workout. 5 sets only, and you can tell I don't often do these form-focused workouts because when I do them, even if I try to get good form, the form is really not all that good. On the last set, you could see my legs were bent and stuff like that. But hey, at least I was trying, right? And maybe this is a good idea for Japan. I'll be in Japan for 3 weeks. I won't be able to spend a lot of time on training, or I will be able to spend a lot of training, but I don't. I don't want to. I want to spend time on eating good food and seeing the country. But basically, during that time, I can spend 3 to 5 sets a day doing some light planche sets, and probably my form will improve and my strength will probably even go up as well. These light workouts, especially when it comes to skills, have their benefits. And when I say light workout, you might ask yourself, like, what the fuck do you mean by that? Basically, what I mean by a light workout, not only for skills, but also just in general, let's say you're training basics. First, you want to basically do everything with good form, like the best form that's possible for you. So for me, even though today's form wasn't perfect or even good maybe in some eyes, right? I was trying to do it better than usual. And I was reviewing the clips and then I know what I have to fix next time. So I'm trying to focus on form. And by focusing on form, well, first of all, you're gonna stop compensating with your stronger muscles for the weaker ones. But also, it forces you to concentrate on something else than just dashing out all your power. And then secondly, what I mean is, well, I don't go through the burn. So if I feel that my muscles are starting to burn, I stop the set. And usually that ends up, being something like 60 to 70% intensity. I'm also not amping myself up as much as I usually am. So it's not like I'm dashing out all of my power. So I would say, a light training ends up being like 60, maybe 70 at most percent of your capacity for a couple sets. Not a lot of sets. You want to tone down the volume, tone down the intensity, and yeah, that's basically how you execute that light workout. The light workout should allow you to train but still feel more recovered the next day. So yeah, I think that's gonna be the case tomorrow when I try the front lever. I'm fucking nervous, but I have to stay calm as well. It's like fucking ultra instinct. You're in this state of chaos, or you have to be in this state of chaos, but also tranquil and calm at the same time. Goku is able to be in the heat of the moment, but still, gather all of, or basically put away his thoughts, right? He doesn't even think anymore. And that's how I have to be tomorrow in the front lever as well, as relaxed as possible in that state of chaos of the front lever. So yeah, I'll see tomorrow how it goes. Today was a good workout. It's not because you're doing a light workout that it's a bad workout. No, like I said, they still have their benefits. And especially in skills, if you do light workouts often, you're gonna, get the skills, your body used to the skills, because you do it so much. It's like the piano. If you play the piano 5 minutes every day, you're going to become very good at the piano and most likely better than if you were to do 35 minutes once a week. But it's the same for any skill. It's the same for running. If you run frequently as opposed to hard, you're going to get better at running. And for skills as well, I often do skill workouts very hard because that's how I like to train, and also I'm bulking. I want to put on some muscle. But even if you don't do those intense workouts, right? Doing light workouts is gonna give you good skill gains, and especially because it's not like one or the other, right? By mixing everything up, right? By doing a lot of light workouts and then every now and then a hard workout, by combining the benefits of those both, I think you're ready for some gains, right? And that's, like I said, not only skill training, calisthenics, but for running as well. People often say you run 80% slow and then 20% fast, something like that. I think the same applies for kind of most trainings, including the skills. But I struggle doing that because I do way more than 20% hard on the planche, right? I think for me it's vice versa, but I do 80% hard and 20% light. But that's a problem of my own to solve. I'm not gonna bother you with that. That's it for today's workout. I'm gonna have a shower and some breakfast, and I'll see you tomorrow for max front lever holds. Woo!